Okay. A recent study involved feeding a high salt diet to a rat colony. A few months after the experiment began, standard tests of the rat's blood pressure revealed that about 25% of the colony had normal healthy blood pressure, 70% of the colony had high blood pressure, and 5% had extremely high blood pressure. The conclusion from these results is that high salt diets are linked to high blood pressure in rats. Okay, I know my conclusion is the high salt diets are linked to high blood pressure in rats from the results that they gathered.
Yes. And so why are they saying that the high salt diets are linked to the high blood pressure in rats? What's their reason?
Because after a few months, when they tested them and their blood pressure, they got these different percentages amongst the colony of from normal to extremely high blood pressure.
Yeah. Okay. So yes. So standard tests of the revealed that about 25% had healthy and 70% had high and 5%
Mhm.
had extremely high blood pressure
Yep.
after feeding them a high salt diet. Okay. So we're trying to say, hey, high salt diets must be linked to the high blood pressure.
Yeah. Like when I read this, I was like, okay, like this is kind of saying like
Yeah, what kind of flaw do you see here?
I saw a causation correlation flaw.
Like, how do we know that it's the high salt diet
Yeah,
causing the blood pressure?
we
Okay.
don't. Yeah, it's just this is what they're
So
concluding based on this
that,
one.
yes. So let's start with A. So how much more salt than is contained in a rat's normal diet was there in the high salt diet? So let's say that there was 2 times the amount of salt. Does that
Mhm.
strengthen or weaken our conclusion?
That would strengthen it, correct? Because
You said it was a correlation flaw. So what does have how much have how do we still know that it's the salt and not something else?
oh, okay.
Because like what if it's 5 times?
Yeah.
Okay. What about B? Did the high blood pressure have any adverse health effects on those rats that developed it? So what if yes? What if the high blood pressure did have adverse health effects on the rats?
That still wouldn't like weaken the fact that high salt diets are linked to high blood
Yeah,
pressure
it
in rats.
wouldn't strengthen it or weaken
Yeah,
it.
I was like when I read through it again, I was like, wait, it has no effect.
Yeah, nothing. It was like, who cares that the high blood pressure caused something else? That doesn't mean that the high salt diet is causing the high blood pressure or vice versa.
Mhm.
All right, C. What percentage of naturally occurring rat colonies feed on high salt diets?
I didn't think this was impactful either when I
What if
went.
what if it's like 90%? 90% of
Yeah.
rats feed on them versus nothing. It doesn't do anything. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, what about how many rats in the colony studied had abnormally high blood pressure before the study began? So what if one of them had high blood pressure before the study began? Does that do anything?
That wouldn't be significant to impact the overall conclusion.
I think it would strengthen it if only one had high blood pressure before.
But it's out of 100%, or right? Yeah,
But if
100%.
only one had high blood pressure before, and now all of these have high blood pressure afterwards, wouldn't it be more likely that the high salt diet is what's causing it?
Oh, oh.
How many rats?
Yeah.
So what if 100 rats had abnormally high blood pressure before the study began? If 100 rats had high blood pressure, what does that do to our conclusion?
Doesn't that weaken it because they're saying they already had high blood pressure?
Yeah, exactly. So wouldn't the answer to this question help us evaluate this argument? Because depending on the answer, it could strengthen or potentially weaken it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe I was doing it wrong in my head. I was like, oh yeah, like I don't think I did the 1 to 100 in my head when I went through that. I was like, I'm normally high blood pressure, but I get that because you're showing an alternate cause.
Yeah, well, or it's in like how many, like it's because if it is truly only one, it strengthens the idea that the high salt diet did cause. It doesn't
Because
guarantee
you
anymore.
got like 70% that were
Yeah,
normal.
it went from 1 to 70. Yeah, like that would strengthen the which if 100 before 100% had high blood pressure before, it definitely weakens it.
Mhm.
And then E, have other species of rodents been used in the experiment of the same kind? Does that matter at all? Like, what if yes? Yes,
Yeah,
other species of rodents had been used. I
I
don't
was
care.
like, yeah, because I was like looking, I was like other species of rodents, but then I was like looking at the stimulus and I was like, okay, we're just talking about rats. Like, I don't like, I was like trying to figure out, like, I don't think we care about other rat types. We just care about the rats we're studying.
Awesome. So that's why the answer is D.
Oh, interesting.